This is the brutal reality of life on the front line. Soldiers under constant fire, patching up shrapnel wounds, at times tying their own tourniquets as they try to break through Russian defenses, clearing a maze of Russian trenches. This video posted 3 days ago of fighting near Bakhmut in the east, according to the Ukrainian military, where they say they're gaining ground. Soldiers who survived these frontline battles say the same thing. It's difficult to break through Russian defenses because they fortified them well. They were preparing for a year, 22-year-old Dmitro says. Shrapnel pierced his stomach, arm, and leg when his unit stormed Russian positions 2 weeks ago. 2 friends died. 43-year-old Volodymyr told me his unit liberated a village and crossed more than a mile into Russian-controlled territory. How difficult is it to get through those defensive lines? The most difficult thing is to move forward without communications. The Russians are jamming signals, and you're under constant fire by tanks, mortars, helicopters. He told me the most difficult thing was watching fellow soldiers being killed because, he said, we don't have the right resources to fight the Russians. What kinds of injuries are you seeing among the soldiers who are coming back from the front lines? Injuries from mines and explosive trauma is most common, this doctor told me. On the battlefield, even medics are in short supply. When asked which battalion this medic is from as he treats a wounded soldier, he says none. He's a hospitaler, part of a volunteer force of more than 300 combat-trained medics from all walks of life, an interior designer, a youth mentor, a web designer, all helping to treat and evacuate Ukraine's soldiers, ordinary people taking extraordinary risks. Tanya works on the front line. It's quite dangerous because we're very close to the Russian positions, she tells me, staging and sleeping just a mile away. She's had a few close calls. This was her team's transport vehicle. They don't have enough armored cars to use on every trip. Pavlo, a web designer, is on his first rotation with the hospitalers, working on this massive retrofitted bus, moving the wounded from hospitals near the front line to major medical centers in the nearest city. What has it been like?
11 runs, 130 casualties. Yeah, it was busy.
The teams spend 2 weeks on call 24/7. On this day, they're changing over, the new team getting a quick run-through on the bus. A few short hours later, the real thing. 10 wounded soldiers, some with devastating injuries, in need of evacuation. This man lost his foot. Another has shrapnel wounds to the chest. The team does their best to make the patients comfortable before the bumpy, hours-long drive to a main city. The medics say the faces and stories of the wounded stay with them. For Pavlo, it's a 19-year-old patient who lost limbs.
Considering the amount of traumas, like the percentage of his body affected, he was so strong and brave that I just can't forget, and I'm just thinking like how young he is. And he was a volunteer.
Do you worry about getting hurt? Do you think about your own life? Of course, I understand something may happen to me, but Tanya told me, if everybody is afraid to be killed, then who would defend Ukraine? Who would save lives? That's my choice, and I understand that one day I may not wake up.
And Kelly Cobiella joins us now from Kyiv, Ukraine. Kelly, the stories of those volunteering on the front lines are just so incredible. That one woman you spoke to saying, if everyone is afraid to be killed, who would save lives? What else can you tell us about the people you met, more of their stories?
Well, there's just such a broad cross-section. We met a young barista who said that she was on the waiting list to join the group since last year. We met a former pharmaceutical executive who said he quit his job, got into trauma medicine, into training, and then joined the group. And this interior designer in his 20s who said he didn't know very much about medicine. He really just wanted to do his part in the war effort. This group was started back in 2014 when Russia first invaded Ukraine, and it's become so well respected that there is a waiting list for months to join. Allison.
Kelly Cobiella in Ukraine, thank you for that.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.